Hi, welcome to our Ask the Expert for introducing modern admin capabilities to better serve Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise. I'm Susan Cockrell, and I'm the Office Insider Program Manager for Engagement. And I just wanted to welcome you all and tell you that we're ready to answer your questions about deploying and managing Microsoft 365 apps for enterprise. We have a lot of experts on our call today, both in the chat and on our call to help you with any questions that you might have. If we can switch to the next slide, I want to go through a couple of our ways that we can go through answering the chat. So please use the chat to ask questions. Our questions will appear to all attendees once approved by our moderators. We'd really like you to use the thumbs up in the chat window to upvote your favorite questions. And experts on the chat and people that you don't see are here to help answer your questions verbally and over chat. And we'll also provide resources after the session concludes to help you learn more. We would also like to ask on the next slide if you could help us by not spamming or posting inappropriate comments in the chat. We do have the code of conduct posted in the chat as well, and this session may be recorded as well. So with that, I'd like to introduce Alesh Holacek, and he can go on and give us his introduction. Thanks so much.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Alesh Holacek, and I am the Corporate Vice President for Engineering of Office. And so I lead a team of incredibly talented engineers which work on most of the Office apps that you know when people say Office and you know the apps that come to mind. So our team works on these apps. And it's really good to be here with you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mesh Mansakani. I am a program manager within the Office engineering team, really here to help you all, be able to be more efficient on managing and deploying your Office apps within your organization. So extremely excited to be here and, happy to help on any questions you guys might have.
Great, awesome, thanks. Next we have Javier.
My name is Javier Carrillo. I am a program manager working with everything related to Microsoft 365 apps, and in particular with the Microsoft 365 apps health dashboard that is meant to help you stay up to date with confidence. So looking forward to all your questions. Thank you. Back to you, Susan.
Thank you. Awesome, and thanks. And next we have Martin.
Hi everyone, I'm Martin Ottnayer. I'm from the Microsoft 365 Apps Ranger team. We're a small team working with customers or worked with the customers during the prior preview, hands-on integrating these new features into their environment.
Fantastic. Thanks. Yeah. And last on camera, we have Eric.
Hello, everybody. Eric Wayne here alongside Martin. I am one of the Apps Rangers who also is working with the product group to help our customers implement these new tools and help you stay better with your manageability of all the Microsoft Office apps and the help dashboard.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. With that, we will move over to please start submitting. We do have a bunch of questions already in the chat. So I'm going to start kind of passing them over to people, and let's see what we've got here so far that we can start passing to people as well. So can I create a test incident in my tenant with a G3 license? Let's see, who's the person that would like to take that question first out of our group? Do we have?
Go ahead, Alesh.
Yeah,
I'll
Alesh,
take it.
I'll
take it.
Go ahead, Alesh.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, I was trying to figure out live, not live. Very complicated set of transitions. Can you guys hear me now? Yes?
We can hear you.
Perfect. Sorry. We are all still trying to figure this out. So it is my understanding that yes, you can create a test incident, but you cannot use the attack manager, which is a E5 feature. And so it should be possible. And if you have additional questions or you need additional follow-ups on that, please contact one of us, and we will figure out the follow-ups for this.
Great. All right, next questions. Okay, it looks like we have a lot of people that are interested to know, RE, the servicing updating system, what licensing is required, any system or platform requirements. Can this replace WSUS for deploying Office updates? Let's see. Who's on point for taking that one? Maybe one of our rangers?
I can take that one.
Mesh wants to take it.
Mesh wants it, okay.
Oh, Mesh. Okay, great, fantastic.
Mesh, mute.
Yeah.
Thanks. So there's a couple of questions here that we'll all kind of parse out to help answer. So what are the licensing requirements at this point? We're going to be delivering this in a preview, so there's going to be no licensing requirement for that at this moment. We're still working through the way we are going to be, talking about licensing. We'll make more announcements as we get closer to general availability. But as the preview is available, certainly take a look at it, and you'll be able to work with that. The next question around is, are there any system or platform requirements? At the moment, we're starting with the Win32 applications. We're going to be expanding to all the other platforms over time, but the first thing you certainly want to do is take any of your Win32 applications that you have, and you'll be able to see it there. You're going to need a minimum of version 2006, which is currently available in the current channel, monthly enterprise channel, as well as the semi-annual preview channel, and ultimately will be available for any devices that are going to be in the semi-annual channel starting January. All this will start lighting up after October for the servicing profile. Anything around the health capabilities, that is going to be lighting up over the next several days throughout the weeks, so you guys will start being able to see that. And everything will be available at the Office Apps Admin Center, which you can access through https://config.office.com, and that you'll be, once you sign in with an Office 365 credentials, you'll be able to get that from there. And then the last thing is, we'll just be able to help you replace your WSUS kind of environment. Yes, it will certainly be able to do that, especially those that are going to be, adopting the servicing profile. You'll no longer be needing WSUS in order to make those monthly updates happen. Back to you, Susan.
Great. Awesome. Okay, the next question that I was going to address was, when should we expect to see the new Apps Admin Center features show up? So far, I don't see these changes yet. Javier, I think you wanted to talk to that one.
Yes, thank you, Susan. The Microsoft 365 Apps Health Dashboard will be available on the Apps Admin Center this week. Effectively, we are enabling it tomorrow. The rest of the features, the ones that we have been talking about profiles and so on, will be coming in the following weeks. Back to you, Susan.
Great, fantastic. Okay, let's see what else we've got in here. I'm just looking through. We've got a ton of questions coming in, so we're firing fast and furious. Thank you so much for all of these great questions. Okay, let's see. Hello, I'm struggling with changing Office 365's apps channel. We deployed Office via SCCM and wanted to change everyone from semi-annual to monthly enterprise. What is the best way to do that? We were thinking GPO, but not sure that is working right.
I can take this one.
Great, Martin.
Right. There are basically, as of now, two ways to perform this. The one way is using GPO. This would certainly work. You can also use Configuration Manager to deploy the Office deployment tool with a small XML, with just the section update channel equals monthly enterprise. This basically puts the information into the client. This client should switch to a different update channel. The GPO is basically doing the same. It's instructing the device you should perform a channel change. Very important is, if you manage these devices with Config Manager today, the targeted channel, so if you want to go from SAC to monthly enterprise channel, this must be available to these devices as an update. So when they receive the information, I should change the channel, they also must be able to get the new bits and bytes. So these two pieces must come in through ODT or GPO, and Config Manager must offer the update from the monthly enterprise channel so the device can perform the full update. Thanks. Back to Susan.
Great. Thank you. Okay, this one had quite a few upvotes. I'm going to try to read through this one. So to use new admin capabilities, do all devices need to be primarily registered with AAD, or will the hybrid environment work? On-prem AD plus AAD? That's a complicated question. Huh. So maybe Amesh, would you be able to take that
happy
one?
to take that one.
Great.
So so there's a couple of things that you can do here. One, you do not need all your devices managed or registered in Azure Active Directory. That's mainly because we're focused mainly on the apps. Now, the apps, when a user signs in, they're signing in with their Azure AD credentials. With their Azure AD credentials, and therefore we'll already have that connection. So we are focused on working with the individual users. As well as the devices, because what we've done is we've enhanced the click to run capabilities, the service itself, to be able to send telemetry data as well as to receive signals from the service where we could start manipulating it as to when it should be updated, changing of its channel, and all of the great capabilities that we are now delivering over the next several weeks. And so all of that does not really require now Azure Active Directory, but if we are going to be introducing management capabilities that says, enable you to manage it via Azure AD groups, and therefore, in that point, you will either have to be targeting via user groups, or if you're going to be doing it by device, at that point, you'll definitely need to then have device connections to Azure AD.
Great. Okay. So, there's another one that I wanted to read out loud. Our company financial industry is primarily on the semi-annual enterprise channel, which is hard to maintain and get people to update. What recommendations and selling points do you have to recommend to senior leadership to get the enterprise update in a more timely fashion and in other channels?
Well, perhaps I can start, and I'm sure that other people will want to jump in, other SMEs. Yeah, so this is an excellent question, and we hear that quite a bit. I think that the most important thing is to look at how the organization and the culture in the organization function. We are moving from having only IT-based conversations, which typically end up being around cost and reliability of the enterprise, to, are employees happy, and are they being productive, and are they succeeding in their jobs? And I think that together with the introduction of productivity score, and with the app health, which is part of what we are doing here, I think that there is a very clear set of arguments that being more up to date helps the organization to be much more efficient, much more collaborative, there's faster decision making, and all of these things that I'm citing here. We have articles written down about from the industry about people proving this as a customers or as people studying behaviors in the industry. And so I would start with looking at the productivity score dashboards. That is a very quant-based view of the organization, how the organization is performing. It also gives you a somewhat comparison against the rest of your industry peers. And I would look at the app health with respect to security, with respect to version spread, with respect to being up to date. And then it quickly moves into, can you collaborate quickly? Can you make decisions quickly? Can you communicate well? And these type of things. So that would be my kind of intro to that answer.
That's great. Thank you. I know a lot of people are asking themselves that question in their organizations. This one has been upvoted 6 times, so I wanted to. I know Matt just put a link to it, but I just wanted to get it out there so in case people aren't reading in the chat window. But from Brendan, is it now recommended to use 64-bit versions of Microsoft 360 apps, and what tools are offered to determine fallout with 32-bit add-ons and plugins following conversion from 32-bit? Maybe Amish, are you the one who wants to?
Either Javier or Eric. I think Eric's
Okay.
picking.
Yeah.
Eric? Okay, great.
Yeah, so in the chat, one of our fellow Rangers, Matt, put the readiness toolkit in there. Yeah, the biggest concern is going to be your compatibility with going to 64-bit add-ins. So what you're going to want to do is make sure you scan the environment to determine what add-ins are in the environment, and then compare it against the data that we have that we know which are known good supported add-ins for 64-bit and which ones might need to have further remediation. Some of this functionality is also built into Configuration Manager, and we're also building it into our new the new services that we're rolling out with this new platform as well. So, but yes, we are recommending 64-bit. We do believe that most of the add-ins are compatible now, or we've crossed the threshold to say 64-bit should be your standard, and 32-bit should be an exception if you do have either in-house apps or a few add-ins that just aren't 64-bit compatible.
Great. Let's see. I'm also seeing another question that's been upvoted several times. This week, we've seen both the new apps admin center features, but also a new Microsoft 365 apps health report and productivity score. There's a bit of overlap here. Which should we make use of?
I can start with that one again.
Great.
I actually I will wait. Yeah, so there you go. I actually think that these things actually quite compose, so they are not in our mind they are not conflicting. And of course, if they conflict in your mind, we would love to get more feedback. We would love to get more concrete examples with respect to where these conflicts appear in the real world or in your world, so we can learn and we can make it better and less conflicting. But in our mind, productivity score, M365 app health, and these management capabilities, they all compose together. Now, we obviously have still work ahead of us for 2021, where we need to take all of these capabilities and add them also into the Microsoft Endpoint Manager. So you have, choice of management user interfaces, but the productivity score, app health, and the deployment service, they compose quite nicely. Back to you, Susan.
Thanks. Great. So this is another one that's been upvoted quite a bit, and from Frank. We currently run the semi-annual version of M365 because it is the most bug-free version. You introduced the new monthly enterprise version. Is this version just as stable, bug-free as the semi-annual version? I think that's a fun question. So maybe Amesh, would you like to talk about the monthly enterprise channel? Alesh, maybe?
Yeah, I will take it.
You want to take that one too?
I'll gladly take it.
Okay, we'll move over to Alesh.
Yeah, so our intent is absolutely make the monthly enterprise channel, or also we call it MEC internally. The whole premise is that the stability of that is stability and predictability is as good as the semi-annual channel. In the semi-annual channel, we imagine that this channel is being used for what we would call absolutely business critical devices which run a ton of extensions. They are set up in a very frequently complicated environment, whereas the monthly enterprise channel we imagine as a thing which runs on what I would call general purpose devices. Those are the devices that you and I typically use for
No, we might have lost him.
Oh, I was wondering if it was just my connection. Uh-oh.
So I can help continue that. So the general purpose devices that he was talking about are more of the type of devices that like I use, right? I don't have any critical line of business application add-in or macros, And therefore, those are great for that monthly enterprise because you are receiving the quality fixes at a much faster pace, unlike the semi-annual channel where you're going to receive quality fixes twice a year. Obviously, if there's a catastrophic error, we will certainly fix that. We have a commitment to ensure that those are addressed. But the reality is, if you're part of one organization that needs a fix based off your environmental factors, we won't be able to fix those because the other company who does not have that, we don't want to introduce churn there. And so therefore, we believe that a lot of organizations really want to take advantage of the monthly enterprise channel. In fact, we've been working with tons and tons of organizations, and we've seen a great uptake of the monthly enterprise channels in those particular situations since we announced it back in May. Susan?
Great. I'm just still going back through some of the more recent questions. One question that we got going back to the 64-bit topic regarding the 64-bit topic, how does SCM Console determine the compatibility? Do we want to have one of our rangers answer that one? Martin?
I can take this one.
Great.
Right. So we have the Office Readiness Toolkit, so all the logic is in the Office Readiness Toolkit. If we use the Configuration Manager, the Configuration Manager is collecting the information from the devices through the hardware inventory. So this piece is in a database, and then the Config Manager infrastructure downloads a small database from Microsoft, which has all the information, which add-ins we know are supported, not supported, or are not working with the 64-bit version. And then Config Manager matches these two information together and presents it in dashboard. So the calculation is done inside your Config Manager infrastructure. Back to Sue. Great.
I'm still just kind of going back and forth to see what's there. Sorry, there's so many great questions. It's difficult to kind of go through them all at one time. Oh goodness, let's see. Will there be configuration policies available to disable and enable specific connected experiences such as dictate, translate, and etc.? Today it is an all or nothing approach of disabling and enabling all connected experiences. Oh, I see Dan, one of our chat moderators, just answered this question in chat. He said, we're in the process of evaluating providing additional policy settings for connected experiences, but don't at this time have anything definite to share. So let's go on to another question. Let's see. Did someone else who's any of our topic moderators have anything that they wanted to pipe up and see? Did they see anything in the chat that they wanted to?
Can I bring one up?
Yeah,
so the question here says, can we leverage the use of inventory and app health even if we use SCCM to deploy Office 365 Pro Plus? The answer is yes, you could certainly do that. One, app health will definitely light up, as Javier mentioned, over the next couple of days. That is not, as long as you have diagnostic data enabled to send to our services, we'll certainly see that and be able to show you that within your tenant. As well as for inventory, once we do have the inventory services live, you will certainly be able to see all that information in your tenant as well, and still continue to use SCCM for doing your deployments. But once you start using things like servicing profile to manage those updates, we certainly don't want to see a conflict there. So you would have to ensure that you exclude those particular devices from being managed by Configuration Manager, especially in the scenarios where you're starting small, where you're adopting only, let's say, a division or a number of devices until you go to a larger set. We certainly don't want to have that conflict because they are using the same COM port in order to communicate to that Office app.
Great. This one was upvoted multiple times, and I know that it's got some answers in there, but I thought that Martin might want to talk about it a little bit more. If delivery optimization is enabled to be used to update Microsoft 365 apps, does it need to be enabled for Windows updates as well? We were informed earlier that both the OS and 365 apps need to use DO at the same time. Can we enable DO just for 365 apps and manage Windows through software updates via SCCM? So Martin, do you want to take that one?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So there is no DO for Office or delivery optimization for Windows. It's one build service or service which is running inside Windows. So if delivery optimization is enabled, both Windows and Office are able to use this peer-to-peer sharing technology to reduce the amount of data it has to pull from the internet. If it is pulling updates from a Microsoft backend. So if you're pushing Windows updates through config manager, even if delivery optimization is enabled on a machine, it will basically be not used because config manager is managing the traffic. But if Office is pulling an update from the Office CDN, it will see delivery optimization is enabled and automatically use this capability. So you don't have to worry about, can I still push updates for Office or Windows through a config manager environment? Because if delivery optimization is enabled, it will only work in scenarios where these two operating system or the Office clients are talking to a Microsoft backend. And we posted 2 links there, which basically give admins all the necessary steps to implement it in their environment. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for diving deeper on that. Do any of our other, like our moderators or even people in the chat, see anything that that they wanted to specifically talk about beyond me just pulling questions out? Anything that you see that are questions that you think are burning topics? I can continue to go on because again, we have so many questions. It's pretty amazing. I can keep pulling some of these out. How about we take this one? Can we leverage the use of inventory and app health even if we use SCCM to deploy Office 365 Pro Plus? Should we? Because I don't think we've. I'm not sure.
That's the one I just.
That was
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
No.
Okay. Let's see what else. When will Teams updates be supported when using machine-wide installations on VDI, or should we use MSIX app attached for this in WVD environments? Do we have any info on that?
I do not. Does anybody on the call have info on that one?
On Teams updates? Okay, we'll have to get back on that one.
Here's another one. Can we export the content on the productivity score page, or what role is necessary to view the page in the portal? Javier, do you know that one?
The contents on the productivity score page are not exportable just yet. However, you can join the preview already by going to Admin Center. We will be working on features to extend the functionality of the productivity of the app health experience on productivity score, as well as on the Microsoft Admin Center. So they should be coming in the next months, but at the moment it's not possible.
Okay, great. Thanks, Javier. Oh, we've got Alesh back. That's
Hello,
great.
everybody.
Hi.
Sorry about that. Comcast cut off internet or something happened. I don't know. Like, no more internet. So.
These things happen. These things happen. We're happy to have you back. We've had some great questions since you've been gone. So.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's one with us. Quite a few thumbs up. How can we update apps using Intune? And what I believe the user's asking is how I manage my updates, and Intune will deliver the instructions to the device to go get the content from the Microsoft CDN. And from there, it will be the connected experience through the cloud to get both the initial install or to change it to getting its updates on the monthly cadence. The manageability tools that we're rolling out in terms of inventory and profiles and things like that, that's going to help dictate all of that and be able to see when it's going to get its updates and to verify that it did get its updates. But it's just a set of instructions that says device go out to the cloud and get the bits and bytes needed to update my device. Hopefully
so if you're looking for actual control over the rollout, Intune doesn't provide that today, but as Eric was mentioning, we will be integrating a lot of those capabilities in the Office Apps Admin Center, but we'll also be introducing the same capabilities in the management endpoint, the Microsoft Endpoint Manager capabilities.
All right, how about we go to when the servicing profile is live, will it be enabled by default, and will it change the channel to current channel? Do we have an answer for that one?
I will. Go ahead, Amish.
Yeah, so essentially the servicing profile, once it is available, it will not be enabled by default. You'd have to enroll in it because we want to make sure that we're not just taking all your devices and adding it to it. You can then choose the devices that make more sense to be part of that, which is like kind of what Alesh was mentioning earlier about the business essential devices. You might want to not put those on there at the moment while you get your general purpose devices on there and watch them get updated on a monthly basis while you continue to have control over those devices.
Okay, thank you. And as you can see, we're flipping to the very last slide because we're basically out of time for this. We're going to continue to try to answer the questions in the chat with our wonderful experts within the chat. But we've got a ton of resources available to you in our tech community space that you can find there. We've got lots of documentation at docs.microsoft.com. We have a lot of skilling sessions that you might not have seen when you've searched through the Ignite site, but you can find them at aka.ms/Microsoft Ignite 2020/office. We've spent a lot of time filming a lot of video for you. So please go check those out. And then a few weeks from now, after you've had time to watch all of this video and kind of go through and pull all your questions together for us, we'll be back here to answer all of those questions for you for an Ask Us Anything. So a bunch of us are getting back together on October 14th in a few weeks. And so just join us. You can go to aka.ms M365 app space, and we'll be back here again to answer a lot more of your questions. So if you didn't get your question answered today, come back in a few weeks and we'll be here again for you. So thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We'll continue to try to answer some questions in the chat. And again, we appreciate your time and thanks so much. Bye-bye.